The time has come to call this meeting to order. Welcome, everyone. This is the Lewis and Clark County Board of County Commissioners public meeting. We always start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, this is where I do the introductions. To my left is Commissioner Tom Rolfe.
Good morning, Chair Payne.
Good morning, Tom. And next to him, or around the corner from him, Brandy Spangler. She keeps records of everything we do, and if we later have a argument about who said what, then Brandy straightens us out. To my right is Commissioner Andy Hunthausen. To his left, or to his right, is Mr. Nico Hash from the County Attorney's Office, and Mr. Roger Balls, our Chief Administrative Officer. Remember, we have a sign-in sheet right there on that table, and we'd appreciate it if you'd sign in, give us your name, and admit that you came today. Okay. It appears that we have no consent action items. Is that?
Chair Payne, that's correct. Yes.
And the first item on our agenda, 3A, is the bid opening for the Lake Helena Floweree Asphalt overlays by Dan Karlin. Thank you, Dan.
Good morning, Chair Payne, Commissioners. For the record, Dan Karlin, County Engineer. And as you mentioned, today we're talking about the bid opening of the Lake Helena Floweree Asphalt Overlays project. That project, just briefly, is to do an overlay from the Causeway Bridge to the end of asphalt on Lake Helena Drive, which transitions to Hauser Dam Road, as well as Floweree Road from the 10-mile bridge to 1 mile southeast of that location. And the first bid we have here is from Cap Paving of East Helena, Montana. The addendum has been acknowledged. Signature page appears to be filled out. We've included their certifications, and it appears they have a complete bid bond. They have submitted a total unit price bid of $459,940.00. Our second bid is from Montana Materials and Construction of Helena, Montana. The addendum has been acknowledged. The signature page appears to be complete. They've submitted their certification form. And a bid bond is included and appears to be complete. The unit price base bid from Montana Materials and Construction is $374,900.00. Our third bid and final bid is from Hoffman's R&M Services of Butte, Montana. They have acknowledged the addendum. Their signature page appears to be complete. They've included a bid bond that appears to be complete. And they've included the certification. All right. From Hoffman's R&M Services, they have submitted a total unit price bid of $420,950.00. And that's our bids. Staff would like to take these bids under advisement and come back on May 27th with a recommendation for award.
Thank you, Dan. Is there any questions from the committee or from the commissioners? Seeing no questions, is there any public comment regarding these bids?
Chair
See-
Payne, Chair Payne.
Yes.
I haven't had a chance to talk to Mr. Karlin about this, but actually the 27th, is identified for budget meetings for us. And I don't know if the 27th is a hard date that you need to stick with, or if we might want to consider a different date. We're going to have a full day of budget hearings on that day.
Chair Payne, commissioners, and Mr. Baltz. Unfortunately, we're kind of tight on timelines, and we need to get these going as soon as possible in order to have these paved in July. So if at all possible, if it's okay with the commission, we'd like to hold the 27th.
Thank you.
Chair Payne, I think we can make that work.
Experienced Andy, who's been here for 18 years, has said we can figure this out. And we recognize the importance of maintaining the schedule for these bids. It's what we've got to do to make sure there's no shenanigans with these valuable bids going out. So that being the case, can we have a motion on this, please?
Chair Payne, I would move that we send these 3 bids to the staff for consideration, and they come back with a recommendation on May 27th.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Is there any further comment from the commission?
Yeah.
All those, let's see. All those in favor of sending the staff back to review these bids and bring us a recommendation on May 27th, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, same sign. The motion passed unanimously. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Karlin, Jimtown Herrin Asphalt overlays.
Good morning again, Chair Payne, commissioners. For the record, Dan Karlin again. Now we're talking about the Jimtown Herrin asphalt overlays. This is, of course, Jimtown Road from the intersection with Canyon Ferry down to and past the intersection of Jimtown down Riverside Road to the end of the asphalt on that one. And then Herrin Road in its entirety. These are, again, asphalt overlays. First bid I have here is from Cap Paving of East Helena, Montana.
Dan, is that CAP or CAT?
Cap, C-A-P.
Thank you.
They've included a bid bond that appears to be complete. They've included their certification form. Their signature page appears to be complete. And they have submitted a total unit price bid of $318,610.00. Next bid is from Montana Materials and Construction of Helena, Montana. They've included a bid bond that appears to be complete. They've included their certification form. And their signature page appears to be complete. Montana Materials and Construction submitted a total unit price base bid of $261,920.00. His third and final bid is from Hoffman's R&M Services of Butte, Montana. They've included a bid bond that appears to be complete. They've included their certification form. And their signature page appears to be complete. Hoffman's R&M Services has submitted a total unit price bid of $301,410.00. And that's all of the bids. Staff would like to take this bid under advisement and come back on the 27th again with a recommendation for award.
Any questions, commissioners?
I do not.
No questions. Is there any public comment on this matter? Seeing none, let's have a motion.
Chair Payne, I'd move that we ask staff to take these bids under advisement, make a recommendation to this commission on our meeting the 27th of May at our regular scheduled time.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we send this back with the staff for them to thoroughly review. Is there any further comments from the commission? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion to send this back for review by our staff and a recommendation from them at our regular meeting on May 27th, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes 3-0. And then another exciting presentation from Mr. Dan Karlin regarding the bid opening for Canal Circle Concord asphalt overlays. Dan?
Good morning, Chair Payne, Commissioners. For the record, Dan Karlin, County Engineer. And this bid opening is for the Canal Circle Concord Asphalt Overlays Project. This one is to pave Canal Circle in its entirety, as well as Concord Road from its west extent to its east extent, with some, also includes the paving of an approach onto, just forgot the name of them. There's two approaches, Hannah Lane and Field Cross, off of Green Meadow Drive. This first bid we have is from Cap Paving of East Helena, Montana. The addendum has been acknowledged. They have a bid bond that appears to be complete. Their certification is included, and their signature page appears to be complete. For Cap Paving, we have a total unit price bid of $105,655.00. This next bid is from Montana Materials and Construction. They've acknowledged the addendum. They have a bid bond that appears to be complete. They've included their certification form, and their signature page appears to be complete. For Montana Materials and Construction, they have submitted a total unit price bid of $113,761.50. And this third and final bid is from Hoffman's R&M Services of Butte, Montana. Okay. They have acknowledged the addendum. They have included a bid bond that appears to be complete, and they've included their certification forms. And their signature page appears to be complete. Hoffman R&M Services has submitted a total unit price bid of $132,910.50. Staff would like to take these bids under advisement and come back on May 27th with a recommendation for award.
Thank you, Dan. Does the commission have any questions?
Chair Payne.
Andy?
I kind of waited till the last bit here, Dan, just since we have an audience today and those that might be watching, just a 1-minute deal on our bid process. How do we develop our bids? We have pre-bid conference. Why are we sending them back for you to review before we make a decision? Those kind of things. Just, and I'll fill in if I need to, but you can go for it. Please.
Chair Payne, Commissioner Hunthausen, I'll try to keep this to a minute. So we work with Kevin Horne and his staff, as well as Jessica Makis and her staff, to develop what projects need to be done, quantities that are needed or estimated for these projects. We advertise them in the paper as well as on our county website. Contractors are encouraged to go and find those documents. We hold a pre-bid conference that talks through the project, any special conditions that we've identified, as well as scheduling, things of that nature, when these things need to happen. Those are also identified in the contract document. And then we come before the commission on the date specified in the invitation to bid to open these. They are submitted sealed the day prior at a specific time or prior to. So this is all in public, open, all above board, so everyone knows exactly what's going on, who bid what. And yes, generally we take the low bid, unless we find some sort of discrepancy that would preclude us from doing so. That's why we take them under advisement. So we go and we check their math on every single one of them. We make sure they submitted, as I mentioned, I said all of the signature pages and bid bonds appear to be complete. We have run into some occasions where they are not, and that can invalidate that bid. So we're making sure that all their I's are dotted and their T's are crossed before we come back before you with a recommendation.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Chair Payne.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Dan. Anything, Tom?
No.
Let's see. Oh, time for public comment. Would any of the public like to say anything about this presentation? Seeing none. Let's have a motion, gentlemen.
Chair Payne, I move to take the 3 bids for the bid opening on the Canal Circle and Concord asphalt overlays as explained by Dan Karlin, and ask them to return with a recommendation on May 27th.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we accept the bid opening on the Canal Circle Concord asphalt overlays as presented by Dan Karlin, and take it under advisement for them to review and bring it back to us on May 27th. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Same sign. Motion passes 3-0. Action item 3D, contract between Lewis and Clark County and Dustbusters Enterprises. Mr. Kevin Horne.
Good morning, Chair Payne. Commissioner Rolfe, good morning. Commissioner Hunthausen, good morning to you as well, sir. Chair Payne, Commissioners, my name is Kevin Horne. Spelling on that is first name Kevin, K-E-V-I-N. Last name is Horne, H-O-R-N-E. I'm the Operations Manager for Lewis and Clark County's Public Works Department. I'd like to draw your attention to item number 3D on today's agenda. It is a contract between Lewis and Clark County and Dustbusters LLC. Before you today is a contract between Dustbusters Enterprises LLC and Lewis and Clark County to provide and apply magnesium chloride to a 6-mile section of the Sun Canyon Road. The project limits begin at the end of Asphalt, where Manic Street turns into Sun Canyon Road, and will terminate 6 miles from that point of origin. Work will begin upon execution of the contract and will be completed no later than June 15th, 2025. The county will pay Dustbusters time and materials per applied gallon at a rate of 95 cents per gallon for a total not to exceed $43,472. Staff recommends the approval of the contract with Dustbusters Enterprises LLC for the unit price amount of 95 cents per applied gallon and authorized the chair to sign the contract. And Chair Payne, maybe I should just do a quick recap of that project for the board and for the citizens.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you. The Chair Payne, Commissioners, this is the final of our lower 6 miles of Sun Canyon. As you well know, we just got done installing a 4-inch new gravel surface in the amount of about 21,000 tons. Finished that up last Thursday. We're in the process of finishing the top surfacing on it now, putting it all to bed before we end up shooting this with some magnesium chloride. So this is phase 3 of all the phases. As you recall, we started at the very top with the Federal Land Access Program grant that did the top 6 miles. And over the last almost 4 years, we've made it all the way down to the bottom. So Sun Canyon now has 18 miles of new surfacing on it. And we have a preservation plan in place to do 6-mile increments of magnesium chloride over the course of time in an effort to preserve that investment of the gravel for a longer period of time.
Do you plan to then call this the Sun Canyon Speedway? Because if it's that smooth, you know people are going to be driving just as fast as they can.
Chair Payne, Commissioners, it's a 35-mile-an-hour zone, and we remember we talked about that in Augusta. That will fall under Sheriff Dutton's department.
Thank you. I was being facetious, of course. Commissioners, do you have any questions for Kevin?
None. Do not. Well explained.
Well explained. Thank you, Kevin. Is there any public comment? And seeing no public comment, let's have a motion.
Chair Payne, I'd move that we approve the contract between Lewis and Clark County and Dustbusters Enterprises LLC as explained by Mr. Horne.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the contract between Dustbusters Enterprises LLC and Lewis and Clark County for the project explained by Kevin Horne. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Kevin. Action item 3E. Ann McCauley, come up and tell us what you want.
Good morning. Chair Payne, Commissioners, Ann McCauley, Director of Grants and Purchasing. Before you today is an amendment number 2 to a subrecipient agreement between Lewis and Clark County and the Augusta and American Legion Post number 51. This is a project that the Augusta American Legion came forward with a year ago. It was in March of 24 that we initially put together this subrecipient agreement. And the work is to bury existing power lines that run through the rodeo grounds in Augusta, which is owned and operated by the Augusta Legion, and bury those wires, and then also upgrade their wattage. Through this process, we realized that this area is in the floodway that has been mapped and known for the Augusta area with Elk Creek for many years, as this commission is aware of too. And so it requires a floodplain permit be done. This was not recognized by the American Legion when they initially put in their request for funding. And so this additional funds of $6,900 would support the completion and submission of a floodplain permit. And it also includes additional costs due to construction delays with the electrical work. This award is funded through the Local Assistance and Tribal Consistency Fund, or LATCF funding. As you may recall, this was a smaller pool of funding that came through the American Rescue Plan Act, specific to counties that have public lands in them. This will be the final amount of funding available through that LATCF pool. The amendment is again to add a $6,900 for a total agreement amount of $29,750. The period of performance does not change, and it ends on December 31, 2025. Staff recommendation is to approve, and happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Ann. Commissioners, any questions?
If I might,
Oh,
just wanted to just follow up on that. We had approved a certain amount. There's a cost overrun, and we'd like to get this done so that it better serves the people that are using the rodeo grounds there. And so it's a little more money than we anticipated, but we'd like to get it done for. That's it. All right, thank you.
Andy?
Chair Payne, I think Commissioner Rolfe basically covered it, but just to be clear about this, these folks and this process started more than a year ago, right? But we were awarded the dollars about a year ago for projects that were eligible under this category. So there's no more money out there, really. I mean, we have projects on the ground that we're trying to complete. This was one of those that they came back and said, engineering, floodplain issues, things that they didn't recognize at first, maybe should have, but didn't. And anyway, we are where we are. And so if we want to finish the project, this is what it's going to take. And there's a floodplain permit. There was more engineering that had to be done, those kinds of things. And this will be a huge upgrade for the Augusta rodeo grounds and the ability to provide services there. I guess I'm just looking for affirmation that all that was accurate. Is that correct?
Yes, Chair Payne, Commissioner Rolfe, and Commissioner Hunthausen affirmed that what you both summarized is correct, that this is the additional money needed to get this project fully completed for Augusta.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Ann. Is there any public comment on this matter? Seeing none, let's have a motion. Somebody.
Chair Payne, I'd move that we approve Amendment 2 to the subrecipient grant between Lewis and Clark County and American Legion Post number 51 as presented by Director McCauley.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve amendment number 2 to this subrecipient agreement between Lewis and Clark County and Augusta American Legion Post number 51. Is there any further comment from the commission? Seeing none, let's vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? It has been unanimously approved that we approve this amendment number 2 to the subrecipient agreement between Lewis and Clark County and Augusta American Legion Post number 51. Okay. Item number 3F on our agenda, contract between Lewis and Clark Public Health and Superman, as presented by Sarah Sandow. Sarah, oh, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Chair Payne and members of the Commission. I'm Sarah Sandow, the Community Health Promotion Division Administrator at Lewis and Clark Public Health. Lewis and Clark Public Health's Substance Misuse Prevention Program leads a community coalition called the Strong Roots Coalition. The Strong Roots Coalition is an active group of community members who are working together to look at creative and meaningful ways to address substance misuse and its impacts on mental health. The group believes that finding creative and engaging ways to reach the community is a key component when changing minds and actions around substance misuse. Lewis and Clark Public Health has a Health Resources and Services Administration, also referred to as HRSA, grant for 4 years. In that grant, we worked through some carryover funds that we had to plan some events and consultant fees to reach out to the community in this type of creative way. The Strong Roots Coalition has decided to bring in the contractor Superman with these funds with commissioner approval. Chris, who is also known as Superman, is a Native American dancer and hip hop artist who has a creative way to empower and spread a message of hope, pride, and resilience through art, music, and dance. He uses this art form to communicate impactful messages to audiences, and in our situation, the importance of substance misuse prevention and mental health supports. He himself, who does not use any substances, has a really powerful story that he likes to share. Through this contract, Superman will lead school events as well as community events that will happen on May 21st and 22nd. Bringing Superman in this way to reach people we normally would not be able to is a fun and engaging way. The school district is very excited about having this opportunity for their students. Superman would present at the following schools: Helena High School, Capitol High School, Project for Alternative Learning, and 5th graders from Central and some surrounding schools. The community is already getting very excited about the community events as well. This is a part of a series of events that the coalition is helping to put on to prevent substance misuse, start the community conversation around it, and hopefully provide resources to those who need it. The other events include an event called Sober Delight, which is a community conversation around alcohol. Rodney Street Block Party, which is on May 17th, this Saturday, which is a community event around mental health. And a summit for professionals working in substance misuse called Coordinating Hope, a summit on support and recovery. All of these events can be found on our Lewis and Clark Public Health Facebook and our Strong Roots Coalition website page, which that coalition website page is on our Lewis and Clark Public Health website as well. Staff recommends approval, and we're here for questions.
Any questions, commissioners?
No.
I have a question. You've mentioned that these performances will take place at the schools and other community meetings. Is that correct? Would they be a charge for people attending this?
Thank you, Chair Payne. No, they will be free to the community. We will be paying his fees to be coming. The community event, for example, will be on the walking mall. So it's encouraged to reach out to people that would not normally attend one of our public health meetings or forums. So the goal is to reach people that we normally wouldn't. So no fee, trying to take away that barrier.
Okay, thank you. Still no question. Is there any public comment about this? Seeing no public comment, let's have a motion.
Chair Payne, I would move to approve the contract between Lewis and Clark Public Health and Superman as explained by Sarah Sandow.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the contract as explained by Sarah Sandow. Is there any further comment from the commission?
Chair Payne,
Andy?
I just thank you. I think this is really important. All the ways that we try to engage the community on substance misuse and abuse, and this is just one slice. I hope people will take the time to learn about all the ways that the coalition is addressing these issues. This is a piece that's fun and exciting and different and innovative, but there are a multitude of ways that are trying to address this issue in our community. It's really important. So thank you.
Thank you, Andy. I have a comment also. I'm not as crazy as I might be about hip hop music or any of the, bang bang music that goes on. However, my granddaughter is in a dance group, and some of the music that they dance to is this nasty, hip hop where everything is bang, bang, bang. And I'm thinking, oh, for heaven's sakes. But the kids love it. And I can see how this would be a connection to, they're not after old ladies like me. They're after teenagers and young adults who use this kind of music as communication. So I had my second thoughts when this was first brought to our attention, but I've come around. So thank you for bringing it to us, Sarah.
One other thing,
Tom?
I think, the fact that you're out trying to find new ways to reach to particularly young people about topics like this, it'd be a good thing to get an idea how many people participate. And if you could bring us back a report and both for the in-school performances and the public ones to get an idea how many people showed up, I think would be a great idea. Thank you.
Okay, that's the end of the comments. And now, I guess we better move into a vote. It has been moved and seconded that we approve the contract between Lewis and Clark Public Health and Superman. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Same sign. Motion passes 3-0. All right, we have now moved to the last item on our agenda, which is the item 3G, the board appointment for the Canyon Creek Rural Fire District. Connor Fitzpatrick is the person who's doing this presentation.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, Connor Fitzpatrick, Lewis and Clark County Elections Division Supervisor. I bring before you today the vacancy for the Canyon Creek Rural Fire District that was created by the March 18th, 2025 recall election. So, as mentioned, the recall election was conducted by Lewis and Clark County Elections for the Canyon Creek Rural Fire District. The trustee under question, Richard E. Grady, was recalled from office with 146 votes for the recall and 49 votes against the recall. These results became official on March 27th, 2025, after the completion of the election canvass. Per MCA 216-635, quote, if a majority of those voting on the added in there for clarity recall question, vote to remove the officer, the office becomes vacant and the vacancy must be filled as provided by law, end quote. So with that in mind, we move to fire district statutes, specifically MCA 7-33-2106 sub 3, quote, appointments to fill vacancies occurring during the term of office of a trustee must be made by the county governing body, and appointees shall hold office until the next regular election, end quote. This trustee seat is up for election next May in 2026, which also happens to be the next regular election for fire districts. One further stipulation in MCA 216-635 exists, quote, the officer recalled may not be appointed to fill the vacancy, end quote. As of posting this memo to the agenda on just before noon last Thursday, 4 candidates have applied for the vacancy. This is still true. We did not have any last-minute fifth applicants. The 4 candidates in order of filing are James Thomas, Richard E. Grady, Cadgeton Bauer, and Brian M. Grady. The 4 candidates meet the voter registration and residency requirements outlined in MCA 733-2106 sub 4, though the election office notes that Richard E. Grady is the officer recalled in the March 18th, 2025 Canyon Creek Rural Fire District recall election. Considering MCA 216-635, it appears that Mr. Richard E. Grady is ineligible to be appointed to the vacancy by that statute. I could be wrong, however. Feel free to ask the county attorney's office to verify my math. I am not a lawyer, but that is my reading of the statute. However, that leaves James Thomas, Cadgeton-Bauer and Brian M. Grady eligible for the seat. The question now is, which of those candidates would you all like to appoint for the next year? Thank you. Here for any questions as well.
Thank you, Connor. Is there any questions from the commission at this time? Ann, Tom? Okay, seeing none. At this point, we will ask for public comment. These are comments. This is not an argument, and the commission will not respond. So come up and say your piece. First, state your name, please. Oh. Thank you.
My name is Max Eskelson. I'm currently a trustee on the Canyon Creek Rural Fire Department Board. I sat and wrote all this last night to try to keep on track, but I'm just going to go through this point blank. Part of the reason we're in this situation was 14 months ago, Kai Bauer, same person that's trying to get on the board, resigned, along with Barb Nye, Joni Baird, and Sam Stigman. I believe it was last March, you appointed Jim Thomas, Corey D., and Wendy Adamson in replacement of those three. So that's that part of it. Jim Thomas has been on the board now for 14 months. I've really gotten zero help out of the gentleman. There's a lot of things that have went on with the Canyon Creek Rural Fire Department, as you're all very aware. However, we've been trying to redo SLGs, bylaws, we've sold vehicles, we've done maintenance to vehicles, we've had to coordinate all this. Jim has stepped up to do zero. So I don't believe he's a viable person for this to be reappointed again. My wife and I are here to show our support for Brian Grady. I think Brian Grady, being a longtime resident of Canyon Creek, and with his previous history of boards and dealing with people and issues, I believe that is our best choice for this open spot. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments. Public comment.
Morning, Commissioner. I'd like to pass out a handout if I could, please.
I beg your pardon. Say again.
And a public comment handout, please.
I guess we can. Please give it to Brandy.
On the advice of my personal attorney, he advised me to be here today and present public comment, which I'm allowed to. The public's right to know, the public's right to participation.
Can they state his name?
I beg your pardon.
Did he state his name?
My name is Richard E. Grady.
Thank you.
The trustee that, based on the recall petition, on April 8th, I submitted a rebuttal to the independent record. Very detailed what's been going on in the Canyon Creek Rural Fire District. I've been working with Nico Hash for over a year, both as a former board member and a chair, to get legal advice and direction. And Nico's office has been outstanding. He's been great to work with, and Max Eckelson and I have had the opportunity to meet with him on conference calls. I question the legality because I'll tell you why. On the first Tuesday of October of our board meeting, Wendy Smith Adamson and Jim Thomas came to the meeting with a box of petitions for the redress petition. It was not on the agenda, but because I got flack from many people at the meeting, I allowed it to continue. I could have stopped it, but I didn't, and Max was there. The following Tuesday, Wendy Adamson and Jim came to your county commissioners meeting on non-agenda items and brought it up. Wasn't on the agenda, but it was brought up. Since then, I worked with Nico on the redress petition, and one of the things my attorneys looked at is called the due process of law under the statute that those people were looking at. I've talked to my local legislators. Unfortunately, we cannot get that in this legislation to change the law. Nico wrote back based on the review of the Broadwater County Commission, the county attorney, because Nico wanted to have someone outside. He submitted a letter and made it very clear. One of the recommendations was that the board was to go with MSU, local government, and get a leadership training. That has not happened, and I believe it will never happen. But again, a group of people wanted that. Also, at the end of October, I was served a summons. I have a petition, 13 people filed a lawsuit that's still in effect to the board. 13 plaintiffs, which many are in the room today. That has not been resolved. It's been going on for 8 months. In my recall petition, I point out, rebuttal here, 2,500 pages of paper has been submitted to Vivich Law Firm out of Butte. Max has tried to get discovery 2 weeks ago, tried to get a meeting to move forward. That meeting, which was a public notice, was canceled. So as a chair, former chair and a trustee, we've been working with Nico's office, because Nico provided me legal advice, go outside. He could not handle that lawsuit, which we've done. So right now we've had a redress petition against the board. We've had a lawsuit against the board that's still active. And now you have this redress, this recall petition. This was a very well-planned effort for the last year. And Max is correct. Joni Bear and Barb and I and Sam Stigman all voluntarily resigned. And my concern now with the election of Sam Stigman, he is now one of the plaintiffs on that lawsuit. How is the public going to be represented fairly, and how is the board going to handle that from a legal standpoint? I've discussed with my attorney yesterday. He has some concerns. So I've outlined very carefully the names of everybody who in this rebuttal, it's public record. I want it in the public record for your thing. Another issue came up, has to do about the maintenance of the equipment. This is a picture of the water tender that got fixed because it was leaking water. Max Eckelson and myself and the former intern fire chief found it leaking. I held an emergency meeting per the SOGs, the bylaws, by the book, and it was done, and every trustee at the time was there, and we got it fixed. At the same time, there's a structural engine that sat at Winnie Adams' house all summer last year, and we got it returned, having to work with Nico and finally get it done. Nico helped us. It went to Grizzly Repair, David Schatz, and under $3,000 later, it was fixed. The water tender was $500. The structural engineer was under $4,000. We had a wall engine that sat. That was another $500. And we had to have another emergency meeting to buy $12,000 of medical supplies because nobody took care of it. It was all by public notice because nobody took care of it. Yesterday, I noticed a sign, recruitment for volunteers. Amazing. Jeremy Gilman had close to 15 people this past fall willing to step up to the plate. Once they found out what was happening, Jeremy resigned voluntarily because he was not going to go through the public criticism and everything else. Those 15 people have stepped aside. We have no firefighters. We don't. And it's sad. There are people who want to communicate, but they're tired of the local politics. And Nico and I have had discussions. When you're an elected official, such as yourselves, and when you're the chair, you just have to learn to go with the flow. And everybody had a right, it's public record, it's recorded to give their opinions. And it doesn't look good when you have a trustee sitting at the local intersection of Green Meadow Drive and Lincoln Road holding a sign, "Remove me." A fellow trustee, is that about relationships in our community? No, that's not what this is about. And so I'll conclude. Yes, I realize I can't be appointed today, but I'm afraid that Max and Ellen will probably resign. And then when that happens, I'll be back because I'm not the one. But I think it's time that the commissioners today, and I've been thinking about this, might want to think about this a little bit because our fire community cannot continue to go the way it's going. We got too much at stake. And right now, I'll support my brother. He has experience. He worked in Airway Heights. He's been to the meetings, at least somebody in my family. And because of the large acreage we have, somebody will be represented beside the small group in Fletcher Acres. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Grady. Any other public comment, please?
Hello, Commissioners. My name is William Adamson. I'm speaking on behalf of one of a firefighter who I was just informed that we have no fire department, and I myself as a firefighter. One of it is from Mark McDonough. He writes, as a concerned citizen of Canyon Creek Rural Fire District, I would like to address my opinion of Jim Thomas as an appointed for chair for the Fire Board of Trustees. I have witnessed many meetings with Jim Thomas as an assistant chair and noticed that he holds values that show great leadership capabilities. Jim Thomas has he attains experience throughout his path as a service member of the military and of law enforcement officer that demonstrates his confidence in his ability to lead the CCRFD board with balance and by following the rules, regulations of the laws of his position. My honor and respect to go to Jim Thomas, and I believe fully he can keep the peace, let me see here. Balance upon the selection as chairperson for CCRFD board trustees. That's from Mark McDonough, which is an active firefighter with us.
Could you spell his last name for me, please?
I will do the best I can. McDundan.
Thank you.
And I have one other. His name was mentioned a moment ago. His name is Sam Stigman, who was just appointed a trustee from elections from our community who voted him in. It states, Commissioners, I appreciate you taking the time to read my letter, explaining the great importance of moving forward quickly with the Canyon Creek Rural Fire District. Fire season is already upon us as the person's accidentally starting grass fires, homes without clothes, by protection and responses. If heaven forbid their home starts ablaze, not to mention motorcycles and vehicles, traffic has picked up greatly on Stemple Pass and very windy Fletcher Pass. The tourist accidents are sure to follow. Soon will be spring lightning storms, which add threats as well. Currently, we have very little protection because of the antics of Rick Grady. The vast majority of our volunteer emergency personnel felt unsafe with him and stepped down. I myself also stepped down because I was unsafe with him being in the position of a chair of where the direction if he was taking the board. And I am now back as of 3 months ago, voted in by the fire department. Those same volunteers are eager to come back as long as we have a cohesive board which supports their mission. You all may know me as the fire chief who led our county volunteers for 7 years through fires such as the horsefly fire that threatened Helena some years back by the Birdseye Railroad tracks and the fort. Rick Grady, Max, and Ellen Eccleston have been a thorn in our sides for some time. Grady has been for longer than I have been in the area, 11 years. We need a cohesive, stable, fiscal responsible, an emergency response dedicated board in order to restore what has once an envy of some other rural district. The best path I see that will make the immediate impact for the positive movement forward in the community is for you to place Jim Thomas in the position that Rick Grady has been recalled for. Jim Thomas is steadfast, eager, loyal to our protection and the protection of the first responders. I ask that you place Jim Thomas in Rick's seat as soon as possible. To wait only leaves us further unprotected. I am always available through phone discussion if you choose to. And he has his phone number listed here, which I can give to your board. I also speak on my behalf. It is very disheartening to see us be in this position that we're here 30 days later having to appoint another seat position because of power controls. I've noticed being an out-of-stater coming in here, I've obeyed by the rules, obeyed by the laws that you guys have appointed from Montana. I've done what firefighters have asked me to do through my community and through the CCRFD. To stand here and have to see us go through this again is quite embarrassing. Being a rural district fire department, to have gone through what we've gone through, it's, before I was really proud to be part of the fire department. But to see us be the black sheep, the embarrassing one, the ones who can't seem to know how to play in the sandbox without throwing sand at each other. It is hopefully excuse me. Hopefully we can work through this today and have a decision that is the right decision and we can move forward. And overall, put the community first and the politics second, because without the community, you have nothing else. And we cannot have a loss of life in our community because of negligency of power control people who have shown they don't know how to properly use it for the community. They've used it for themselves. Hence, our previous two other people have spoken before me. That is it. Thank you very much, commissioners.
And thank you. You could give your letters to Brandy.
Yes, please.
Is there further public comment?
Oh, I'm sorry. Then that might help there. Hi, again. Good morning, Chairperson and fellow commissioners, board members. My name is Kajetan Bauer. I spell Kajetan. Last name Bauer, Bauer. I am a current member of the CCRFD Volunteer Fire Department since 2019. I've also served as a previous board member on the board in both capacities as vice chair and as chairman. I was part of that initial party about a year and a half ago, where there was a mass resignation. And since that time, thank you to you two, or to you all board commissioners, we had two wonderful individuals in the community who stood up to be appointed, Jim Thomas and Wendy Adamson Smith. Since that time, they have done their due diligence in really helping organize the structure of our board and trying to bring a lot of semblance to there and camaraderie. And unfortunately, since Rick Grady was made chairperson, there has been the inability for him and a few other members to really communicate clearly, both to the entire board and to the firefighters, as well as our community. And it has left us in a very difficult situation. Again, very grateful that Sam Stigman, our former fire chief for multiple years, now has a really impactful voice on our board, and same with Wendy Adamson and her many skills. So we're thrilled about that. And now with your review and appointment of a future appointee to fill Rick Grady's position will be instrumental and getting us to move forward. The atmosphere has changed a great deal in the Canyon Creek area over the past several months, and just wanting to turn a page in the chapter to the past is the past, and looking forward to how we can better our community and bring our relationships and our perspectives together rather than apart. It has been unfortunate. I want to point too many fingers of what's happened in the past because we can't change it. But the firefighters, since Rick Grady was the chairperson, have been prevented from hiring these additional firefighters in our community. We've been locked out of the station. We have had codes changed on us, filing cabinets locked. We have been prevented from doing our duty as first responders. And that has been a huge frustration. It's been, if anything, scary, for the taxpayers and community members who want to remain or want to maintain, know that their tax dollars are going to good use to protect their neighbors and their homes. And fortunately, that has changed in the past month or so, and we're getting things on board. People are gathering once again. We just had our Mother's Day breakfast, which people have missed, and you're starting to see people come out and talk that maybe haven't talked in a while before across the aisle. And so, again, we remain very optimistic that going forward, that our differing perspectives will be our strength rather than our weakness here. And so the weight kind of lies in your hands to make a good decision. And I couldn't think of a better person than Jim Thomas. As a fellow Army veteran, as law enforcement, as Will had said previously, he is a respected member of the community. He's worked with the Gradys in the past. He just across the board, he's a very a man of high integrity and again, willingness to work with just about anyone. Maybe not me, but most people. Anyways, I thank you for your time and the energy you spent on the Canyon Creek community over the years, especially big thanks to Nico Hash, who has provided a lot of guidance and just leadership and helping us through this process, as well as yourselves. Thank you again very much, and I hope you make a good decision here that will help lead us into the future. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Are there any further public comments, please? Yeah. You figured it out.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Peggy Justesen. The last name is spelled Justesen. I am a former Canyon Creek Board of Trustee member and the chair. I would like to thank you for the opportunity to express my opinion on the importance of this appointment to the Canyon Creek Fire District that is being considered here today. For the past year, Canyon Creek Fire District has dealt with uncertainty and chaos. The successful recall of Mr. Grady and the election of Ms. Smith-Adamson and Mr. Stigman have all gone a long way to correct the situation. While we still have a long way to go to put our fire department back together, I believe that the appointment of Mr. Thomas to the vacant seat on the board will provide us with a calm, rational, trained, experienced, and respected trustee as we approach a fire season that at the very best can be very challenging. We have former fire department members who are waiting in the wings to rejoin and make Canyon Creek Rural Fire Department the top department it once was. I'm asking you to appoint Jim Thomas to this open seat as soon as possible to provide some continuity and leadership as we, the community, begin to rebuild our department. I would like to also add that it was previously mentioned that the recall lawsuit redress has been insinuated that it was Flesher Pass people. I live in Flesher Pass. The recall was successful, 146 votes to 49, and I will guarantee you there are not 146 votes at Flesher Pass, at Flesher Acres. So that says to me there are other community members who also were for that recall. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Any further public comment?
Good morning. My name is Victoria D., D-E-E, but I'm known as Corey, K-O-R-I. I live at 7873 Lost Horse Creek Road in Canyon Creek. Chairman Payne, Commissioner Rolfe, and Commissioner Hunthausen, I am here today to speak in support of Jim Thomas's petition for appointment to fill the one-year term on the Canyon Creek Rural Fire District Board of Trustees. I ask for consideration of Jim Thomas because of his knowledge and training in board governance and best practices, his understanding through lived experience of the issues and concerns of the Canyon Creek community for our rural fire district. Jim recognizes there is merit, tremendous merit, in the concerns presented by members of the community and operational issues raised by fellow trustees. And to be very clear, on both sides of the argument, there is merit. I believe Jim is best suited of the petitioners to bridge this divide. You've expressed interest in seeking broader community engagement, and so do I. It's imperative that we stabilize the fire district in order to be able to actively recruit volunteers to serve as fire company members and to build consideration among community members to serve as trustees in the future. We are eternally grateful to our mutual aid partners for their ongoing support of our district, and I thank you for your time and consideration of my request to support Jim Thomas. Thank you.
Thank you, Corey. Is there any further public comment? The light green?
There it is. Well, good morning. My name's Dale Huddick. It's spelled H-U-D-E-C. Okay, I live in Canyon Creek. Yes, we've gone through some stuff. We went the legal route. You know, we sit there and did what we were told to go do. And guess what? The community stood up and said, hey, we've had enough. That man back there, Jim Thomas, he is the man. He's only wants to be there for a year. That gives us time to recruit other people to get this thing back together. It started as a functional fire department with EMTs and first response and all, and it went down into the garbage. Get 2 or 3 firefighters, and that's it now. So he is the man to do it. It's only for a year. That gives everybody time to work together and to start cleaning this up. But we need to get it cleaned up now. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. Is any further public comment come forward?
Madam Chair, Commissioners, good morning. As you already know, my name is Jim Thomas. I think I need to spell that again. Thanks for listening to us today. I don't know, after the praise I've heard, I think I'm going to drop this and run for president. But anyway, I'm here today to ask you to appoint me to this one-year position. You appointed me a little over a year ago to fill some slots in the Board of Trustees for the Canyon Creek Rural Fire Department. It's been an interesting year, I'll say. Sometimes I have felt like Charlie Brown, you know, when he wants to kick the football and Lucy keeps moving it. That's kind of what it's felt like. I want to serve a year. And I've said before, I think I'm not interested in a full 3-year term. That's why I did not run in the election. We have some really, really good, young, intelligent people that live out in Canyon Creek that can do this job. I just want to get the ship righted and sailing in the right direction and then turn it over to those people. In June, it will be 30 years since I moved from Helena out to Canyon Creek. I had been spending a lot of time out there, fishing, hunting, camping, whatnot. I fell in love with that community. It seemed to have just the right combination of rednecks and ranchers, of tree huggers and hippies and everything in between. And we didn't always agree on everything, but we got along. And that I think we've lost a little bit of that. And my goal to rebuild the fire department and to heal the community. That's what my goal is coming up. So thank you for listening to us today. I want to thank the community for their support. I'm honored and I'm humbled by their support, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Is there any further public comment? Speak now or forever hold your peace. Okay, it's time for a motion. Andy and Tom?
Chair Payne?
Tom?
I think the outpouring of support is fairly strong for Mr. Thomas. I think it's interesting that you know, the Grady family have been a strong part of that community for many years, and have contributed a lot to the community as well. But I think this outpouring of support and the need for healing that community requires me to support Mr. Thomas. And I would move that we put James Thomas in the position.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that the county commission appoint Mr. James Thomas as a replacement on the Canyon Creek Fire Department. Is there any comment from the commission before we vote?
Chair Payne,
And
just briefly. As I said last time that we did this, over a year ago, when we had to appoint folks after resignations, we'll do our job. We're here to do our job, but I don't, and I think I speak for my fellow commissioners, that we don't want to be in the middle of Canyon Creek Fire District's business. You are an independently elected board, or it's an independently elected board, and we'd like to see the voters do this. You know, on occasion, we have to appoint someone for a position where someone resigns, retires, whatever it might be. But and in this case, but it's not what we'd like to see. And I'm going to support Mr. Thomas because I think he's a good person. I think we've already had him there. We've seen what he can do, and it's 1 year. And I'd like to leave things the way they are with the people that we've appointed to the board, so that the voters can decide if they want to continue with the same folks or somebody else. I really, as has been said by a few of the speakers, I'm a little bit, I don't know if disappointed maybe is the word, but bummed out that we have to be doing this, because I think it should be the voters of the Canyon Creek area that make this decision. We'll do our job. We're here to do our job. I'm ready to do the job. I think that we have the right person nominated here, and I'm ready to support the vote. Thank you, Madam Chair.
thank you. Without further comment, let's have a vote on the nomination of James Thomas as the replacement trustee on the Canyon Creek Rural Fire District. All those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Mr. Thomas, you're it. I don't want to see you people in here again. We have come to the point of our agenda where I ask for public comment on any public matter within the jurisdiction of the commission that is not on the agenda above. Seeing none, this meeting is, oh, I beg your pardon? Get up here. And this is on matters that are not already. Perfect.
So my name is Constance Horder. Good morning, Commissioners and
Good morning.
Chairperson. I just wanted to say one thing that isn't on the agenda, and that is that there's been a little confusion about having a department. The department is growing, developing, and we have 3 people that have,
What department?
sorry, Canyon Creek Rural Fire District.
Okay, so this has already been discussed.
No, it's not the same thing. Just let me finish. I don't, very swiftly. I just want to say that on the confusion about firefighters, we have had 3 people, 2 that are on the department currently that have finished and completed a very extensive EMS type of medical training, and we're very proud of them, and they will be protecting the community, and that they've done that in the last 6 months. So it's Kai Bauer, Jonathan Cunningham, and John Keller.
Okay.
So
Thank you very
thank
much.
you.
Any further comments on any matter within the jurisdiction of this commission that is not on the agenda above? Is this on the agenda above? Have we already discussed any of this? Because if so, you see this man over here?
Yes, ma'am.
He is passing a kidney stone. He is here to get this taken care of, and he is in pain, and I want to move this thing along. So be brief, to the point.
To the point is, the rebuttal answers a lot of questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That in mind, this meeting is adjourned.
I have the application in there, and I guess I'm just different. Why didn't you look at each application and ask them to look at their resumes, look what you had in your file? We put all that together to the election department, a letter from Julie Dolan, all that stuff was in your package.
Could you state your name, please?
My name is Brian Grady. I put in for the position.
Of course.
And I spent 14 years as mayor out in Spokane. The right that you guys should have asked is each application get up and do a presentation to you, not do public comment. But that's the way I thought the system worked, but I guess not.
Mr. Grady, we reviewed every document that was submitted to you.
So why didn't you look at our resumes?
We looked at every document that was submitted.
And you didn't ask any questions about resumes?
I think they were pretty well explained.
Did you see mine?
Your resume?
Yes. And a letter from Julie Dolan, state representative?
Yes, I did see that.
But nobody asked me any questions, so that's why I didn't think
It
it was
was
a public
perfect.
comment to get up and talk. I thought you were supposed to ask questions, so it's over. I'm just saying that's different what I've seen past commissioners do.
Okay. Thank you for your comment. This meeting is adjourned. Let's clear the room.